You did everything they said would lead to success, worked harder, earned more, kept climbing. So why does your life feel smaller with every promotion? What if the dream you chased was quietly becoming your prison? Today, you'll uncover the hidden trap, why millions never see it, and the mindset that can help you break free before it's too late. Every morning feels like a new chance, but nothing really changes. You were told success would feel different, but it feels like repeating yesterday. The city moves fast, but your life doesn't. You work harder every year, just to stay in the same place. They call it stability, but it feels like a loop. Bills arrive faster than progress, and somehow, this is normal. You start believing comfort is the goal, even if it slowly shrinks your future. Everyone looks successful online, but few can afford the life they show. Debt becomes invisible until it isn't. You keep working without questioning why, because stopping feels more dangerous than continuing.
If you made it this far, you already know your brain is capable of more. The first link in the pinned comment reveals the simple reading method thousands are using to absorb information faster, remember more, and think with greater clarity. Don't wait until everyone else gets ahead. See it while it's still there.
But no one tells you that's the real trap. A life that looks stable, but never moves forward. The system doesn't need to stop you. It just needs you to stay busy. So you never notice what's missing. You realize you've been moving fast, but not forward. Every decision feels small, but adds up silently. Until one day, you feel it all at once. And still, you go back to work the next morning. Because the system rewards exhaustion, not awareness. You were taught to earn money, not to understand it. So you repeat what everyone else does, even when it doesn't make sense anymore. The American dream was never just about success. It became a lifestyle competition. And most people are losing quietly, not because they're lazy, but because they're distracted. Every distraction feels harmless, until it isn't. Then reality becomes expensive, and freedom feels further away. But here's what no one tells you. You are not stuck because of money alone. You're stuck because of repetition. The same choices create the same life, and most people never break the pattern. At some point, the pattern starts feeling like identity. You stop asking if it's right and start asking if it's normal. Normal is where most people get trapped, because everyone looks busy, so no one stops. And busy people rarely question direction. They just keep moving, because stopping feels unsafe. But safety is often just another word for stagnation. You don't notice the trade you're making every day. Time for comfort, future for pressure. And it always feels like a fair exchange, until it isn't. The illusion is that you still have time. But time doesn't wait for awareness. It only reacts to decisions. And most decisions are already automated. That's why nothing changes, even when you want it to. Change is not a moment, it's resistance. And resistance feels uncomfortable by design. That's why most people return to the loop. Not because they can't leave, but because they don't fully see it. And what you don't see controls everything. The system doesn't scream at you, it normalizes you. You start calling exhaustion discipline, and burnout ambition, until you forget what balance feels like. Everything becomes urgency, even rest. And urgency destroys reflection. Without reflection, patterns survive. And patterns become invisible prisons.
Think you can make it to the end? Stay with the story until the final second. Then comment, "I made it to the end," to prove you caught the hidden lesson most people miss. Thousands never finish and lose the biggest insight. Don't stop now. The ending changes everything.
You don't notice the cage because it's comfortable. Comfort is the most expensive trap in modern life because it doesn't feel like loss at first. It feels like reward. That's how the cycle survives itself. Not by force, but by repetition. And repetition slowly becomes identity, until you no longer question your own direction. You just follow the movement around you. Because stopping requires awareness, and awareness is rare. Most people never reach that pause, and that's why the dream feels so real and so endless. The hardest part isn't the system, it's waking up inside it. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Every choice starts to look different. The same habits suddenly feel heavier, not because they changed, but because you did. Awareness creates discomfort first, because denial used to feel easier, but easier never meant better, and better rarely feels easy. That's where most people stop, not at failure, but at discomfort. But discomfort is where direction begins, not with noise, but with clarity. And clarity changes what you tolerate. You stop reacting and start choosing, and that changes everything over time. Not instantly, but inevitably, because direction beats intensity, and awareness is the first form of freedom. The dream doesn't change, but you do. And even when everything changes, the world stays the same. Most people wait for permission to change, but permission never comes, because systems don't grant freedom, people take it. And taking it always feels like uncertainty first. But uncertainty is where real paths begin. Not the ones everyone understands, but the ones that actually build something. The difference is never talent, it's tolerance. Tolerance for discomfort and silence, because silence reveals what distraction hides. And what you see in silence changes decisions forever. Not immediately, but structurally. You don't change life in one moment. You change it in repeated direction. Most people never repeat the right direction long enough. That's why progress looks invisible at first. But invisible progress is still progress. And over time, it becomes undeniable. The dream doesn't disappear, it just stops owning you. And that's the part nobody prepares you for. Not the struggle, but the clarity after it. Because clarity removes illusions, not challenges. And without illusions, most things lose their power. You stop chasing what was never yours to begin with, and start building what actually belongs to you. That shift doesn't look impressive at first. In fact, most people won't notice it at all. But that's exactly why it works. Because real change is never loud. It's repetitive, uncomfortable, and extremely quiet. But over time, quiet becomes strength. And strength changes how you move through the world. Not faster, but clearer. And then, something subtle starts to shift around you. People don't talk differently. They move differently. And movement always reveals mindset. You can see it in the smallest decisions. Pause before spending. A second thought before reacting. That's where everything begins to split. Not in wealth, but in awareness. And awareness compounds quietly, while chaos stays loud, but stagnant. Most people confuse noise with progress. But movement without direction is just exhaustion. And exhaustion feels productive until it breaks you. That's where the real reset begins. And when you reset, you don't become someone else. You become more aware of who you already were. The mask starts to fall, slowly, and what's left is uncomfortable truth. You were never forced into it. You adapted into it. And adaptation is the most powerful trap of all. Because you stop noticing the walls when you've always lived inside them. But once you see the walls, you start measuring exits. Not escape, but direction. Because direction is the only thing that compounds. Everything else resets daily. And most people live inside the reset, not the progress. That's why freedom feels invisible at first. Because it doesn't announce itself. It builds quietly, in repetition. And repetition becomes identity. Again. But this time, you choose the repetition. And that changes the entire outcome. Not because life becomes easier, but because you stop being controlled by it. And for the first time, the noise doesn't decide for you. It just becomes background. Because attention is the real currency. And most people spend it without noticing. Not because they want to, but because it's easier. But easier always has a cost. And that cost compounds too, but in the opposite direction. So does discipline. That's the part nobody sells you. There is no shortcut, only direction.